Welcome back to Square Off. Arizona's top Democratic office holders take a dim view of the Biden administration's planning for the end of Title 42. Independent Senator Kyrsten Sinema has also been a harsh critic. So as we head into 2024, what is the potential political fallout from the end of Title 42 and whatever the aftermath looks like? Our political insiders stepping in now. Chris Love is an attorney and Democratic advocate. Tyler Montague is a Republican activist. Welcome back to Square Off.
Hey. Thanks for having us.
And my usual question, any disclosures of potential conflicts on any topics we're going to discuss this morning?
No.
None here.
Okay, good to hear. So the border has been a rolling crisis since Joe Biden took office. I brought this up before, but Chris, where's the evidence that Joe Biden has a feel for this or is even interested in what happens at the southwest border?
I mean, that is a good question. And I think that's the question that everyone here in the state is asking. You know, Joe Biden is someone who's well removed from the border. He's from Delaware. He's not from a border area. And even with the injection of the 1,500 troops over the last week in order to help with the border situation, they've had some time to kind of roll this out, knowing that Title 42 is coming to an end. And I just haven't seen the kind of preparation we would expect for the incoming quote-unquote crisis that we're about to face here.
And so, in fairness, with a caveat, this has not been a solvable problem for any president over the last 2 decades. What could Biden be doing more?
Well, he should have known that the end of Title 42 was coming years ago and have had a plan. I think the worst problem is misinformation and rumors among the migrant community. They all think that coming to the border and applying for asylum is going to be a successful process for them when really most of them get rejected. And so the administration could do a lot better at educating people in their home country, letting them apply in their home country before they walk hundreds and hundreds of miles and risk their lives, and have a process that works better. I don't think there's any good excuse for the Biden administration to be this far behind.
And Democrats here seem to get that.
They agree because they're here and they see it, right?
Yeah.
And he's removed from it.
Yeah. Could all this blow up as an issue in the 2024 elections in Arizona, presidential, Senate, even control of the legislature?
Absolutely. And I mean, as Tyler said, this isn't a new problem. Every Democratic candidate has had to deal with this in Arizona. But, you know, I think that the magnitude of the problem right now, and given the slimmest margin that Biden took the state with, that could be a problem for him in 2026. 24. Excuse me.
Let's get it.
I was aspirational.
It's going to be an issue. It's going to be an issue.
An issue and a real opening for Republicans.
Absolutely. Biden needs to remember that there was a decisive number of people who didn't vote for him so much as against Trump, and he needs to give them a reason to stay on board, and managing or mismanaging problems like this is going to be a problem for him.
All right, let's stay with Decision 2024 and Decision 2022, I guess. Defeated candidate for governor Kari Lake made a pilgrimage to Hungary last week, of all places, to praise that country's autocratic president, Viktor Orban. Congressman Paul Gosar was part of a large far-right delegation all sponsored by CPAC. So, Tyler, can you explain what CPAC was or is now, and why Lake and so many Republicans are infatuated with this dictator?
Well, CPAC is conservative PAC, and it's really a long-standing, traditional conservative organization that became super Trumpy during that time period. Now they're trying to export their politics elsewhere, and so that's why they had this thing with Viktor Orban.
To Hungary?
To Hungary. I don't get it, and you know, I wrote it down so I'd get the quote right, but Viktor Orban said, "This is why we've always fought. We are willing to mix with one another, but we do not want to become peoples of mixed race." And
a white nationalism there?
I think white nationalist birds of a feather flock together, and that's why you see Gosar and Kari Lake going over there. It's an embarrassment.
Here's Kari Lake wants to Hungary our Arizona. Has anyone ever said that with a straight face? Is this a good look for someone who might want to run for the U.S. Senate, or maybe be Donald Trump's vice presidential running mate, or door number 3?
You know, I think that probably the Trump running mate is the better option given this. And I think that it's not a surprise that, you know, MAGA conservatives are palling around with European fascists. It's kind of on brand, right? So I think that that plays a little bit more seriously for the Trump ticket than it would for the Arizona Senate race. I think that, Arizonans are just kind of tired of Trump, and quite frankly, Kari Lake, and quite frankly, if she's there, she's not here wreaking havoc, so I'm fine with it.
So kind of the Republicans' 2022 problem all over again. And by the way, I want to get on the record for folks, the Arizona Supreme Court sanctioned Lake's lawyers last week for repeatedly lying to the court about one of their election claims. That's pretty serious stuff. On to the state capitol now, where Democratic Representative Stephanie Stahl Hamilton of Tucson faces an ethics investigation for hiding the 2 Bibles that are kept in the House member's private lounge. Republicans accuse her of theft. Stahl Hamilton described it as a prank gone wrong. Chris, where does hiding the Bibles fall in the range of ethical offenses?
Oh, it's a nothing burger. Can they work on the budget? Can they replace the folks that have just left? This is such a non-issue at this point. I think it was a goofy thing that Stephanie Stahl Hamilton did. She didn't steal the Bibles. If anything, she was preserving the word by keeping it fresh and putting it in the refrigerator, as far as I'm concerned.
That might be her defense.
Stephanie, call me.
That's good stuff right there.
You top it.
Okay.
Well, here's the problem. Yeah, it's a minor prank. It's not that big a deal. But what it speaks to is a larger and ongoing perception that Democrats are hostile to people of faith. And so little things like this play into that narrative. And so that's why it's a mistake for her to do this.
But she's a pastor, right? And so
She is
even worse.
She was ordained, but it doesn't appear she's been a pastor in quite a while.
but she is a religious person, and I had an experience with her, and so I know what her faith is.
Well, nobody down there's been able to read the Bible ever since she did that.
Just 2 Bibles missing. They weren't
For the record, the Bibles are back.
Oh, okay. All right, we're good.
Okay, going to end with another 2024 item. Could have implications for control of the legislature. 3-term Democratic House member Jennifer Pollock announced 15 months before the August primary next year that she won't run again in the East Valley's LD 13. It's a swing district in Chandler Gilbert that voted for Biden in 2020. Tyler, does that give Republicans an opportunity to hold all 3 seats, 2 House and 1 Senate?
Absolutely. For her to win that race was a big deal for Democrats, and for her to walk away puts it back up for grabs. And so they don't know what to do yet.
Yeah, still some time to go. This was the district that elected, now expelled Republican rep Liz Harris.
Who's going to be replaced today by the county board of supervisors.
Before the show airs.
This is my legislative district, so I deal with it every day, and pardon the eye roll that I just gave. But I think Jennifer Pollock has made a calculation that I don't think it's a secret that Democrats are talking about running 2 candidates in that legislative district as opposed to the single strategy that they've been using and that Pollock prefers. So, I kind of view this as someone from LD 13 as kind of a little bit of a temper tantrum. Like, okay.
Oh, really?
So you don't want to run with a running mate, and that's fine. And so throw the seat up for grabs. I don't know who's going to run for that seat. I've heard rumors of someone moving from another LD to come to run in that race. Perhaps Cindy Hands, who ran for the Senate, might run for that House seat. But it's kind of thrown everything in disarray, and it was unnecessary 15 months before anything has really gotten started.
And Katie Hobbs has made a point of saying she wants to retake the legislature in 2024.
Well, unless Republicans run Liz Harris again, they're probably going to take those seats back.
Yeah.
That could happen. All right. Chris Love, Tyler Montague, thank you so much for joining us.